Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome to this video. So I'm going to be breaking down exactly how you guys can sell without a script. Now, if you can sell without a script, you can hop on any offer you want and crush it because you actually have the skill set of being able to turn someone from a non-buyer to an actual buyer. Now, if you don't know how to sell without a script, you need extra time to actually understand the offer, understand the script, things like that. But if you have the skill set, all sales is the same. Selling one thing is how you sell anything. So if you know how to sell one thing, you can sell anything you want and you're pretty much golden. All right, so let's hop into the training. Now, I'm not saying scripts are bad, they're helpful as a guide, but the truth is, if you sound like you're reading a script, you lose trust with leads and they can sense that, okay? And especially in today's market, leads are way more sophisticated than ever, so they know what's going on. All right, the best setters don't sell with the script, they actually sell through discovery and by being fully present with the person in front of them. When you're talking to family, friends, or on a date, you don't use a script, you go based on what they say. Just like in life, right? If you have everything planned out for your whole life, you limit the opportunities and blessings that could come your way. Okay. Now, there's four main points that you have to understand when you go fully scriptless. Number one, discovery means being in the shoes. Two, the power of presence and curiosity. Three, what to dive deeper on first, goals or pain. And then four, probe on either the first or the last thing that they said. All right. But before we dive into the lesson, you must understand that before you can start selling without a script or framework, you have to have been using a framework for minimum 2 weeks. The reason why I say that is because if you jump just straight into a call without knowing what questions to ask or like when to ask those questions, you're going to mess up. Okay. You're not going to know how to handle that call. A framework is good for being used as a guide. So I'd recommend practicing or getting as much reps as you possibly can with it. So that way it's ingrained into you and you know how to have a great discovery like it's second nature. Okay. And then lastly, be yourself. Okay. Who you are off your sales calls is who you are on your sales calls. Don't be someone who you're not on these calls, on these setting calls. Be exactly who you are off your calls. Okay. Now let's get into it. Number one, so discovery equals being in their shoes. So discovery just simply means putting yourself in the prospect's shoes to understand what they're going through on a deeper level. Okay. It's not about checking off a list of questions. It's about truly understanding what they want, what they're struggling with, where they're at, and what's going to happen if they continue on the same path they're on right now. It's very simple. Okay. All you discovery is just basically making them realize and holding up the mirror how severe the situation is. I'm sure you've had times where prospects, where when you're on the call with them, the prospects will be like, yeah, my situation, it's not that bad. Right. But then you've had your manager or someone review your call and they're like, well, no, if you just want to dig deeper and ask them this question, what's making you say that? Why do you feel that way? They would have elaborated and opened up to you plenty on why the situation's shitty. Okay. All you have to do is just, follow the why letter, like I mentioned in my other videos, dive deeper on what their current situation is, why they're feeling that way, what impact is that having on them, what's it like, being stuck at their job for, 3 years and not having the income that they want to have. I guarantee they'll open up to you and, they'll set. So think about it like this, right? Your job isn't to convince them, but your job is to uncover what they're currently going through. Every conversation you have, even outside of sales, is a discovery. It just depends on how deep you want to discover, right? The deeper conversation you have, the more memorable you'll be, which is why it's important to make sure they have a big need to do this so they're more likely to show up. And a bonus tip for you too, a lot of people say, yeah, build rapport in the beginning by asking them what the weather is and stuff like that. No, you build rapport by active listening and by asking the right questions. When you ask the right questions, you automatically build trust because they feel as though that they're being heard and listened to when you ask the right questions. Now, when you uncover the right things, the closer doesn't have to sell hard on the sales call because the lead has already sold themselves and you've already done the majority of the work. Now, number two, the power of presence and curiosity. So this part is probably the most important out of this whole training is just being present. Okay. If you're just waiting to ask the next question on your script or framework, you're not actually listening. All right. And again, the leads can feel that. Presence means slowing down, listening between the lines, catching the emotional cues, and responding to what they're actually saying. Prospects can feel when you're distracted or in your head, and they can also feel when you're locked in with them. Okay, that presence builds trust faster than any script ever could. All right, respond to what they mean, not what they actually say. I'm sure you guys have had times where prospects will tell you, well, they'll kind of be like in their tone, they'll kind of be hesitant. They'll be like, you ask them a question like, yeah, do you like your job? They're like, Yeah, I like my job, right? Versus a prospect saying, yeah, I like my job. Those mean two different things, right? The first thing, the person clearly doesn't, which gives you the gateway to probe. Well, what do you mean? You don't really sound so sure on that. Do you like your job or you don't? Well, no, I don't. Really? Well, why is that, right? And you're able to probe deeper. Versus the second one, they sounded more confident that they did like their job. So you always listen to what they mean and not what they actually say. Okay, listen for the tonality, and also you can read the energy as well. For example, how's your day going, right? The lead says, it's going good, right? In a sad voice. Obviously, something's off. You want to use the 55, 38, and 7 rule. 55% of communication is body language, 38% is tonality, and 7% is actually the words being spoken. All right. This is what creates a real conversation instead of its interrogation or an interview. Now, if you want to get better with being present, you can do this exercise like I call the keyword listening drill to help you out, which I explained in another video, but I'll go ahead and explain it here too. Pretty much how this works is you just want to give this prompt into ChatGPT. You want to say, hey, I'm an appointment setter working on active listening. I want to look up for a few emotional keywords in the sentences to probe on. Please make up 10 sentences with 2 to 3 emotional keywords like this example. So here's the example that I have here. I've been feeling drained and I don't really want to work anymore. Not the type of lifestyle I want to live. So that's why I want to make more money doing this. Okay. Which one is the keyword I'd probe on? So as you guys can see here, number one, it says, I'm just so frustrated with how things are going lately. I feel like I'm putting in the effort, but not seeing the results I want. So the one that I highlighted is how things are going lately. That's clearly what's affecting them, right? And why they're not seeing the results that they want. So I'd say, really, how are things going lately, right? Or when you're saying how are things going lately, what do you mean by that? That's pretty much what the keyword listening drill is. There's like 10 of these sentences. You guys can go ahead and watch some other video. Now, curiosity plus presence means you're going to be unstoppable. All right. Curiosity keeps you asking why and digging deeper and truly understanding them. And presence makes them feel heard, safe, and open to sharing more. Now, remember, the prospect doesn't care about your script. They care about whether or not you get them. The more you uncover, the more they feel understood and the easier it is for the closer. Now, number 3, what to dive deeper on first, goals or pain? Now, if they start talking about their goals in the beginning, obviously you want to dive deeper into goals, get super clear on what they want, why they want it, why it's important for them, and how life will look like if they got it and how it's going to impact them. Okay? Because there's two things you always want to get when it comes to goals and when it comes to pain. The logical outcome, so, how much do you want to make per month? Logistically, what's it going to do for them so they can invest in real estate, they can, take the family vacation, retire the wife, whatever it is. Any emotional outcome, what's it going to do for them emotionally? We want to get the emotional outcome because that's what's actually going to drive them to make a change. I want you guys to listen to this right now. If you don't get anything from this training, get this one thing. If you guys do not get the emotional outcome, you will not be a good setter or a good closer. I say that because we're human. I don't care if you're selling B2B or B2C. If you do not get the emotion as to what's going to do for them once they do actually reach their goals, they will not change and they will not buy from you or set. Because since we're emotional creatures, we are always chasing an emotion. For example, my goal is to make 100K a month next year consistently. Why do I want 100K a month? Well, because it's going to make me feel a certain way. Okay. For you, for example, let's say your goal is to make 10K a month. You want 10K a month because of how it's going to make you feel. There is a bit of a paradox there, right? Because once you do actually reach 10K a month, you're going to want more and more and more, right? And you think it's going to make you feel a certain way, but in reality, it's really not. But you guys get the gist of it. We're always chasing feeling over, the logistical things. That's why certain things, right? That's why certain people, money doesn't make them feel a certain way. They get fulfillment in other areas of their life. If they start talking about pain, okay, dive deeper on the pain first. Don't skip past it because pain is pressing. And if they're bringing it up first, it means it's top of mind. Go deeper until you can uncover the emotional layer underneath. So this is like in my other videos talking about positive versus negative. Positive is goals. Negative is pain. Always go negative if you can, if they bring up pain or negative. Always, 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 because it's more pressing. How you do that is by using the document problem awareness sequence. I go this in my other video. You guys, I'll link it somewhere here. But being present helps you notice which one matters more to them in that moment, and that's where you should go. The prospect will always sell themselves. They'll always tell you how to sell them. Now, number 4, when in doubt, probe on the first thing or the last thing that they said. So if you don't know what the hell to dive deeper on, if you don't know what best next question to ask, just probe on the first or the last thing that they said whenever you feel stuck or you don't know where to go next. Why? Because those are the things that they subconsciously put the most energy into. For example, a lead says, yeah, I've tried a few programs before, but none of them work. You can probe on the last thing. Well, what do you mean by it didn't work? Or mirror it by saying, well, none of them worked. Or you can go back to the first thing. You mentioned you tried a few programs before. What happened with those? Or mirror by saying, you tried a few programs, right? Either way, you're keeping the conversation natural and flowing instead of sounding robotic. Now, the best next question you can ask will come from their answers. You just have to be present and listen. I don't care if you have a script or a framework, the best next question you ask will always come from their own answers. You just have to be present and listen, which is what I said earlier. They will tell you how to sell themselves. All right. Now, here's what I want you to remember. Selling without a script does not mean you're winging it. It means you're being fully present so you can ask thoughtful questions, which build trust. You're fully present. Don't rush. Don't zone out. Stay locked in. Go deeper on goals if they bring them up first. Go deeper on pain if that's what's pressing, because you run faster away from a burning building versus towards an ice cream truck or towards a restaurant because you're trying to get away from something. If you're ever stuck, probe on the first or the last thing that they said. So that's it for this training on how to sell without a script. If you guys have any questions, just message me. If you guys want to access this document, just comment scriptless in the comment section. I will send it over to you. Like, comment, and share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.